Hello and welcome to SEGA News Bits Extra. I'm Barry. George will be joining us next week, but let's get into the news for this week. So the big news this week, I think, is that the SEGA Dreamcast has turned 20 years old in Japan. And I'll be honest, I'm in America, so September 9th, 1999 is probably the important date for me, but I do understand that Japan comes first. So this is the true 20th anniversary. It was November 27th, 1998 that the game released. Though I don't think it had the best launch lineup. I think the American release definitely kicked the Japanese release in terms of what games were available. But as far as memories that I have of the console, I at least in 9999, I got the console a few months later, but several years later, I did get a Japanese launch model from eBay. And the cool thing about that was I paid a really, I think, compared to the prices now, a really good price. And it came with Res, it came with Virtua Fighter 3TB, and what I was surprised by was that it actually had a mod chip. So that was really cool, and it's still my go-to console, the Japanese one. And so, I guess I would say that the Japanese release is important to me, even though I never experienced it. But I did kind of get to experience it many years later. The next bit of news is kind of silly, but I wanted to talk about it. So Ryo Hazuki is 50 years old. And of course, he's a fictional character. The Shenmue franchise is not 50 years old. And so what it is that Ryo's fictional birthday is November 29th, 1968. He was 18 at the time of Shenmue, and for those who are super big Mu heads, Ryo begins the adventure on November 29th. But oddly, I don't think in the game anyone really talks about it being Ryo's birthday and his father is being murdered, so that's kind of interesting. But I did a little math and I thought it was also interesting that since Ryo is 50 years old today, he's actually 4 years older than his father was when his father was murdered at the age of 46. I mean, of course, this is all assuming Ryo didn't die in Shenmue 3, 4, 5, or whatever's happening, but I don't know, I just think it's fun to look back on fictional characters and see what they'd be doing now. So maybe Ryo would be, maybe living in Canada with Nozomi, and they have a bunch of kids, enough kids to play Goro's kids in a game of baseball. The last bit of news that I wanted to talk about was that Console Wars is back on the Sega Bits front page. Now, we covered this book by Blake J. Harris a ton back in 2014, and that was a great experience. I reached out to Blake and asked him if he wanted to do a podcast with us, and he agreed, but he also offered up Tom Kalinske, who was the former SEGA of America president during the Genesis Glory days, as well as former director of marketing Al Nilsson, who worked on, I believe, the early Genesis launch through to, I want to say Sonic 2. Maybe he was there for Sonic 3. I know he was there for Sonic 2 because Sonic Tuesday was his big thing. But it was just a real blast to talk to those people. I still think Tom Kalinske, no offense to our other guests, but we have not matched him in terms of importance to Sega, and so it was great to speak to the three of those guys. They also allowed us to cover their Comic-Con panel, and we have the only video of the event up online. So, I mean, the Console Wars news that's new today is that the movie project that was in discussion is being shifted to a small screen limited series. So think, those shows that run 6 to 8 to 10 episodes. There's no season 2, and it's I think it's going to be really cool. I think it actually works out better because, when you think about what a movie would do, in 2 hours they could not cover the content that book covers. So as far as the creative staff behind it, there's Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. A lot of people have noted that these are people who've done a lot of comedies. However, they also have dipped their toes into drama, and this is being sold as a drama. I also think it's not fair to think that just because Seth Rogen's producing it, that it's going to be a laugh fest. But I mean, let's be honest, you look at the story of Console Wars, and there is some pretty ridiculous stuff going on. I mean, marketing, I work in marketing, and it can be pretty silly. I mean, we're going to see a movie where there's going to be guys talking about fictional foxes and creating backstories and trying to beat Mario. So I think there is some humor there. I don't think it's going to be slapstick. I just think that they're going to be presenting a story that's going to make us, laugh and smile. The other talent behind it is the John Voight Roberts, who was the writer of Kong Skull Island. He's directing it, and then Mike Rosolio is writing the pilot. So that means there's going to be other writers for the series. I don't know if there's going to be a showrunner. Maybe that's who Mike Rosolio is. Maybe he's directing every episode and overseeing it as well. And as far as where this will be airing, we don't know yet. However, looking into it, Rogan and Goldberg projects have premiered on Hulu and Amazon Prime. So I'm going to guess it's going to be a streaming thing. Maybe Netflix will get it too. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, overall, I'd say that's good news. People have asked on Twitter if this is good or bad news. I think it's good news because TV's really seen a renaissance in the past 5-10 years, and I just think it's a smarter choice. Because we're going to be seeing this every week, and we're going to be talking about it. It's going to show up on streaming. I mean, maybe they'll dump all the episodes at once. Who knows? But I'm excited for it, and we'll see you next week.